Welcome to the Cooking Corner in the Air Comfort Solutions Kitchen. We're happy to welcome back Chef Geoff VanGlabbeek from Montereau, doing a pork tenderloin with mole sauce. Thanks for joining us as always.
Thanks for having me back.
So, it smells amazing. Tell us all the ingredients you brought to make this dish.
Yeah, so the mole's, it's kind of one of those, it's like saying salsa. Everyone has their own recipe for it. Actually, get started, just throwing some onions in and sauteing them with a little bit of garlic. We have a bunch of different peppers and some sweetness to it I'll get to, but while that's sauteing, we're gonna sear off the pork tenderloin. So we just have a quick rub, and it's a little salt, pepper.
And where can you get it from?
So this one is just, I made it myself. So
okay, you made it yourself, so what's in there?
So it's salt, pepper, cumin, a little bit of cinnamon, and some ancho chili.
Oh, sounds easy to make at home.
Yep, just mix it all together. We're gonna rub it into the pork, and we're just gonna give it a quick sear, and we'll finish it off in the oven. While it's searing, we can finish up the mole. So this is one of those, it needs to simmer for a while. It's also great if you make it and just throw it in the refrigerator overnight. Flavors all kind of get together.
Right.
So sauteing the onions. To that we're gonna add some chicken stock and a little bit of tomatoes, which I kind of all combined together. And while that's simmering, we're gonna throw a little bit of cumin and some cinnamon. Kind of the same profile as
so this is just mixing all the flavors in there so it tastes great when it's done.
So we have a little dried cranberries. It's going to give you a touch of sweetness, and also it'll help thicken up the sauce.
Okay.
A little bit of almonds. Going to be a little bit of fattiness to it without adding a bunch of fat into it. And then we have two different types of chilies. So these are it's called a guajillo. It's a dried chili. It's a smoked chili. It's relatively mild. And all we did with this is soaked it in some hot water.
So this is just a slight spice.
Yeah, slight spice. It gives you a lot of that like peppery, smoky flavor though. We're gonna just throw that right in there. And then we also have some chipotles. The recipe calls for 2 of each. If you don't like spicy, you can go like 3 of the guajillo and less of the chipotle. This is really what gives you the only real spice in the recipe. So we're gonna just let this simmer. Usually when I make it, I'll simmer for at least... I smell
it coming through.
I simmer it for at least an hour.
Okay.
And I said, once again, this is one of those, you can simmer it for longer than that. When it's all done and simmering, the recipe actually calls for you to throw it in the blender. If you do that, or a food processor, if you do it, you want to be really careful and put a towel on top. If you spin something real hot, it can hit your ceiling and hopefully not yourself. Also, you can use a little stick blender, kind of the easier way, a little safer, just to get it to a nice smooth consistency. Okay,
and my favorite, okay, you have the chocolate there.
I know, I can't forget the chocolate.
I know.
I usually throw that a little bit in later on. Mostly because once you throw the chocolate in, you want to be careful to stir it every once in a while because it will...
And does obviously, it gives it a sweet taste?
It gives a little bit of sweetness. So this is Mexican chocolate. You can find it, I bought it at Research, to be honest with you. It's called abuelita, which means grandma. It has like a little bit of spice to it. It's not quite as sweet as like normal chocolate though.
I was wondering about that.
So you can eat it straight or you can make hot chocolate with it, but...
And so is this before in the blender or?
Yeah, before in the blender. Okay. I throw it in a little bit later on in the process just because the chocolate will settle the bottom, and if you're not careful, it'll scorch. So you do want to make sure you give it a good stir just to make sure you don't have any scorched chocolate. Nobody wants that.
Love that.
Yeah.
Okay, so once we
sear this on all sides, you just want to throw it in the oven, about 325. Everyone always asks me how long. Really depends on the size of the steak. I cheat, I use a thermometer. I just stick it in the middle. When it's 145, it's good to go. Same thing when you're grilling outside, everyone's just like, oh, my chicken's really dry. You probably way overcooked it because you're afraid of cooking chicken. Use a thermometer, you'll get it right every time.
Perfect. Well, Chef Geoff, we're thankful you joined us as always. Stay with us. We'll be right back after this.